Dean Van Cleve, honored faculty, and members of the wonderful class of 2013, congratulations. It's a special privilege to join you on this special day of celebration as you complete your law school career and join what I believe is the most exciting, inspiring, and rewarding profession in the world, being a lawyer and an advocate for our justice system. We are here today to celebrate you, today's graduates, as you join the alumni rolls of this great law school. A list that includes state Supreme Court and federal judges, great innovators, as well as CEOs and general counsels of major corporations around the country, and partners at major law firms all around the world. In the short space of 3 years, you have gone from being students to graduates, and shortly, when you have passed the bar, to being lawyers. I welcome you to the legal profession. The American Bar Association welcomes you in our mutual effort to create a more just society governed by the rule of law. My favorite graduation speech was one that Art Buchwald delivered at Harvard University several years ago. It was quite brief. He stood up and said, "Graduates, your parents, your teachers, and I have given you a perfect world. Don't mess it up." He then sat down. Actually, his phrasing was a slight variation on "don't mess it up," but I thought I ought not to repeat that this morning. Well, your parents, teachers, and I have not given you a perfect world. And indeed, it is one with many injustices, many pockets of poverty, and many missed opportunities by Congress to make us all safer, better educated, and more financially secure. But the responsibility for improving our society, improving our communities, is one that we share with you, with your hopes and dreams, with your technological expertise, with your current thoughts about families and careers and the future. You may be wondering what words of wisdom I can impart to you, given that this is your commencement from law school and I am long past my law school years. I am also mindful that very shortly most of you, maybe all of you, will not remember what I say today, and that is okay. I can only imagine the range of emotions that each of you is experiencing right now: excitement, relief, apprehension, maybe even impatience for me to conclude my remarks so you can start celebrating with family and friends and classmates. Your life can be greatly enhanced by the law degree you are receiving today, depending on how and to what extent you use this degree to make a positive impact on the lives of others. While some of you may already have plans to join a law firm, remember that you need not work for a large law firm to be a good lawyer. Ours is a noble profession. It is important to realize that the oath that you will soon be taking means something. Never forget that you are officers of the court. Officer of the court is the most important and meaningful title you can earn professionally, whatever your career path is or whatever your achievements may turn out to be. As a lawyer, you're an integral part of the judicial branch of government. The law is a vehicle of fairness, of peace, and of justice. And we all know that many people around the world are not free. They do not enjoy independent courts or independent judicial systems. We are grateful to our founding fathers for drafting our Constitution and Bill of Rights. They've proven to be timeless documents. They grant us both rights and responsibilities and give us the power to enforce those rights through our courts and our judicial system. As citizens, we look to the courts to protect our rights. They make the rule of law a reality. But unfortunately, our nation is suffering from an access to justice paradox. It has become increasingly difficult for many law students to compete in the job market. On the one hand, although the number of legal jobs in the U.S. has increased dramatically in the last 2 months, really nearing an all-time high, we have too few good jobs for young lawyers graduating from law school today. On the other hand, the legal needs of the poor and other disadvantaged groups are not being met in ways that our Constitution requires. In fact, in New York alone, where I live, court statistics show that 2.5 million people are unrepresented in civil proceedings annually. According to the World Justice Project, which is a group that the ABA started, the U.S. ranks 66th out of 98 countries in access to and affordability of civil legal services. That's just not acceptable. There continues to be a major breach between the legal needs of low-income people and the legal help that they receive. Data collected by the Legal Services Corporation shows that for every client served by LSC-funded programs, another person who sought help was turned down because LSC did not have the resources to help them. The fact is that many low-income Americans cannot afford a lawyer to defend their legal interests, no matter how urgent those needs are. Similarly, there are significant geographic regions of our country, primarily out west, but also some in New York State, where the lawyer population is scant or non-existent, and where the local population, for all practical purposes, does not have timely or proximate access to a lawyer. The New York Times recently reported that when a lawyer in South Dakota retired after 64 years of practice in one small town, there was not one attorney to take his place. The closest working attorney lived 120 miles away. Now there is no one in Bennett County in South Dakota to handle property litigation or school board disputes or tax cases or even homicides. Here in San Francisco, that might be hard to imagine, but there are large parts of the country without access to legal services. In various talks around the country, I've always said that American legal education is the best in the world, but it needs to evolve to match up with the rapid changes that are taking place in the legal profession. We, as lawyers, must work together to find solutions to this growing problem. We must find a way to improve the fit between the needs of our profession and those of society. So my top priority in the coming year as president of the ABA will be to explore the creation of a legal access job corps to match lawyers who need jobs with disadvantaged clients who need legal assistance. I've already brought groups together, individuals together, leaders of the ABA, leaders of the legal profession, as well as experts with experience in legal education, pro bono legal assistance, and legal job incubators to discuss ways that the ABA can take a leadership role in addressing these combined complex issues. Among our first activities is to explore the innovative programs that have already been started by a number of law schools, by bar associations, by courts, in response to these challenges. These new efforts are in addition to the ABA's long-standing commitment to help lawyers be prepared for the practice of law and to find work now and in the future. The ABA provides a one-year complimentary membership to new bar admittees so that you can get ABA benefits, including networking, professional development opportunities, in addition to educational training and programs which have always been our priority. The ABA's Law Student Division and our Young Lawyers Division are focused on helping law students and young lawyers to nurture their entrepreneurial spirit and their leadership potential, two key ways for young lawyers to set themselves apart from the competition in this difficult economy. The Young Lawyers Division Career Development Initiative, its New Lawyer Boot Camp, and its Next Steps Challenge program are all examples of the ways in which we're trying to tackle these issues. Many of you now may be thinking of the new job that you will soon be starting. Some of you will go into private practice, legal services, government work, or the corporate world. Some of you in the class of 2013 will go on to greatness. Your names, your pictures will appear both in the local and national press, but you will never be so great as when you use your skills to help a child, an abused woman, an immigrant in detention, or a family facing eviction. These will be the best of times for you, the times when you feel most vital, most alive, most grateful to the law school for what it has taught you. Whatever career path you choose, I urge all of you to get involved in your communities and to pursue some level of service to others. Earlier I told you about the absence of lawyers in parts of South Dakota, but I assure you that right here in San Francisco, or wherever you call home, there are people in need of a lawyer, but who cannot afford one. I want to encourage every member of the class of 2013 to become actively involved in the public service initiative that helps the poor and increases equity and justice where you live. I believe you will find pro bono service rewarding and enriching to your own lives and certainly to the lives of others. By participating in public life, becoming a vital member and leader of your community, you will find that numerous professional opportunities will open for you. You will not make money through your pro bono work, but you can build networks that will pay dividends all the rest of your career. Your education has prepared you to be critical thinkers, problem solvers, and leaders. The hallmarks of your experiential education here at Golden Gate really are unique, and your client-centered clinical experience will serve you well in the real world. In a very real sense, your education is only about to begin. Although most of you have so far spent the vast majority of your life as a student, remember that the greater portion of a person's life lies not in study, but rather in the practice of what he or she has studied. The practice of law is one of lifelong learning. Your graduation today, to paraphrase Winston Churchill, is not the end or even the beginning of the end, but rather the end of the beginning. By now, some of you are looking at me wondering, is this the end of your speech, the end of the beginning, or the beginning of the end? I have one more thing to say before I conclude. I want to encourage each of you to join your state and local bar association and to join the ABA. The organized bar can take your career to places you never dreamed. My own experience, while a little unusual, is really not unique. The first transactions on which I worked as a new attorney were international corporate matters, and nearly my whole career has focused on these kinds of transactions. In the mid-1970s, not long after I graduated from law school, I was chair of the Council of New York Law Associates, and the ABA was sending its first delegation to China. And it put together a group that consisted of different parts of the profession, a judge, a tax lawyer, a criminal lawyer. At the last minute, they decided to add a young lawyer, and they came and asked me if I wanted to go, so I joined the ABA so I could get to participate in the delegation. After spending 3 weeks in China, I became specifically interested in the legal and business issues there. I started writing articles, appeared on TV to talk about China, and was eventually asked to chair the ABA's China Committee, which focused on providing information to U.S. lawyers about legal developments in China. I chaired that committee for several years, and during that time also became legal counsel at the World Bank's International Finance Corporation. So from that sort of confused beginning, became active in the ABA and have been working in it since. The ABA has helped me grow tremendously as a professional, and I have held a number of leadership positions within the ABA over the years. Now I'm here as President-elect of the association, a title that gives me the great privilege of addressing all of you today. And I would like to see all of you participate in the ABA, not only because it's a great resource for young lawyers, but because the ABA and the profession needs you. You must get involved in the organized bar. You must get involved with pro bono. You must get involved in community leadership activities. In the U.S., unlike most of the rest of the world, the legal profession is one profession. Judges, lawyers, legal educators, big firm lawyers, solo practitioners, corporate counsel, legal aid attorneys, antitrust lawyers, we all function in the same legal framework, and we all have a responsibility to strengthen our justice system and the rule of law. This common thread of a legal degree, which you are receiving today, gives us special skills and a special responsibility to protect those who need protection and to insist on a fair and impartial justice system that is responsive to all the members of our society, not just to those with power and money and privilege. We share in this tradition and are made stronger by it. So, with apologies to Woodstock and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, we are one profession, we are two alone, we are three together, and we are for each other. My hope for you graduates is that you will use what you've learned the last 3 years every moment of your career, whatever path that leads. And I hope you will find happiness, professional satisfaction, and personal development. Once again, my sincere congratulations and good wishes go with you on this remarkable journey you're about to undertake. Remember that you are a lawyer. Be proud. Do good. Thank you.